Hello, friends. Jim Nantz, Hall of Famer, lead play-by-play voice, NFL on CBS, host of the Masters on CBS. But this week, big-time Houston Cougar fan. Jim joining us on the program. How nervous do you get before watching your Cougars play?
Before, during, and even after. I love hearing you say hello, friends, by the way. That's a good way to start my day, my friend, but I am so stoked about this weekend. Listen, we all have that little boy inside of us, that fan that still lives and has a place in your heart, what sports used to feel like. I have it with all things University of Houston. So football, basketball, whatever it might be. But I am absolutely in love with this team. And Kelvin Sampson, the head coach, he's just incredible. And I will be there in the stands wearing red and cheering us on against the mighty Duke Blue Devils come Saturday evening.
How much did Phi Slamma Jamma break your heart?
Oh, big time. April 4th, 1983. I was sitting in the stands in Albuquerque in the pit at the opposite end from the Lorenzo Charles game-winning basket. And that date, as you can tell, was only 42 years ago. It still is very much in my heart. 42 years ago tomorrow. It's front and center. I got to tell you, that was a pivotal day in my life and career because, people don't know this. It's more than just having gone to the school. My whole career really was channeled being on the golf team and the golf coach introducing me to Guy Lewis, the Hall of Fame coach for Houston, who said, "Young man, I'd like you to be our public address announcer at our home basketball games." And that turned into me then, while still a student, hosting his coach's show on the NBC affiliate. It gave me cred when I was just 20 years old. So, yeah, it's been a long-running love affair. For some reason, they even have a banner now, right next to the names of Elvin Hayes and Hakeem Olajuwon and Clyde Drexler and Otis Birdsong. It's nuts. Commemorating my own NCAA tournament years and gifts of being able to do the tournament for so long. But in that 83 game against NC State, I actually rode to the pit on the bus with the team. These were my buddies. I named Clyde the Glide. And we were just a very close-knit group. Guy Lewis said, "You come with us."
Wait, you came up with Clyde the Glide?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
You didn't know that?
Did you come up with Phi Slamma Jamma?
I did not. Tommy Bonk did.
Oh, yeah. Great writer.
Tommy came up with that. Yeah, I wrote the forward to Clyde's book, and we're all of us are still great friends to this day.
Well,
they showed up last year when they had that jersey banner raise, and I love these guys. Anyway, here we are in Albuquerque, and I don't have a credential or a ticket. I just ride in with the team. Guy says, "Meet us back here after the game. Get back to the hotel." So I go into this arena 2.5 hours before the game, and where do you go? There are no seats with backs. There's only benches. And there in the corner behind a basket was the CBS set. And I looked up, and there was Brent Musburger running through the elements of the show. He was hosting it. It was Gary Bender. I love Gary. Gary and Billy Packer were going to be calling the game. So I thought, that's where I'm going to sit. I sat right up against the set. I mean, I really could have tied his shoes. It was that close. And I was just looking at him. I was the only guy in the arena. He was probably wondering, why is this punk hanging out this close? And I saw Bill Egan, his stage manager, with whom I would later work, saying, "Let's go through this." And I turned around, I saw there was a teleprompter there, and I could hear everything. It was 3 feet away from me. And I was mesmerized that the great Brent Musburger, who I adore and love to this day, was right there. And that was a thrill for me. 3 years later, as fate would have it, Brent's now calling the games. CBS is in an arena that no longer exists in Dallas. They have a set just like the one in Albuquerque, and I'm the guy that was sitting in that chair. 3 years later, in '86, I was hosting the Final Four, and I was pitching it to Brent courtside at the start of the broadcast. So I've been given a lot of blessings, but that's a very big one.
If I said you can call one more Masters or one more Super Bowl, but you have to choose.
Come on.
What? I'm a journalist. I got to ask these questions, Jim. It's a good problem to have, by the way.
It's a good problem to have.
One Masters or one more Super Bowl.
I think you know the answer to that. I mean, I'll let you answer it. You know the answer to that. And listen, I've been given the blessing of having, I think it's the 4th most Super Bowl calls of all time. tied with Kurt Gowdy. So they're all special, but I wouldn't trade the Masters for anything in the world. So yeah, it's important to me. In a major championship golf, we have the PGA Championship. That means a lot to me, big time. I got to call the Open Championship over on the BBC for a number of years when the BBC still had it. I was the foreign voice over there. The only one I've never called is the U.S. Open, which, would have been a thrill to have the chance to do a national open because I care so much about it. But the Masters is just, it's again, that little boy we talked about, what's inside here, what's inside the heart. I wanted to be one of those voices. I didn't care about being on television. I wanted to be able to tell the stories like the voices of my youth were telling me long ago.
He's Jim Nantz, and he will be calling the Masters. What is this, the 40th?
It'll be number 40.
Yeah.
Yeah, which in the broadcasting longevity graphic, if you have it there, if Todd can put it up. You're looking over at Todd.
He can't do it, Jim. Jim,
No,
he can barely get you on the phone.
I tie the great Vern Lundquist for the broadcast longevity record. So,
and this is a 11-year retirement tour. Is that what this is going to be?
Listen, I actually have it. We had this discussion on your show in 2016. Melissa Miller, my longtime chief of staff.
Yeah.
This thing just went viral last week for no good reason. It was not a story. I just happened to say it in conversation. But when it gets spun, like I am declaring or making an announcement, this is my retirement, I would never want that attention. I would never do that. I just happened to say, like I said on your show 9 years ago, and I said to Richard Deitch, and I said to many other people out there through the years, Alex Myers and some other guys, I said, that would be, in a perfect world, my last show. I'd be able to make it if I could, God willing, CBS willing, Augusta willing. I would love to get to the 100th playing of the Masters tournament. And if that's the case, if we did get there, that'd probably be my retirement date. But I say that with a twinkle in my eye, Dan. I don't really think about it. I'm thinking about this show now. By the way, maybe I don't make it there. Maybe I go beyond it. I don't want to start putting a countdown clock on it. So
okay, but I got to shop for a gift for you. And so I don't know. Do I have 11 years to get you something? Or
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't get me one of those rocking chairs.
No, I'm not going to get you that.
The first time I said it, and you're one of the first I ever said it to, and we did a whole show on this. My great teammate, Kevin McHale, not the basketball player, got a countdown clock. And I showed up at our next golf event, and it was in the corner of our tower. And it said 20 years, 18 days, and the second was going like you see down at Times Square.
Yeah.
And I thought it was funny. It was a nice gag gift, but there it was the next week and the week after. And it really made me uncomfortable. I did not like seeing my life go by like that. I said, you got to take that thing down. So I don't even want to think that way. No, there's no announcement here. All I know is I'm blessed enough to be able to be there next week for the 40th. And I'm going to give it my all with deep appreciation in my heart.
Can you show up and just play golf at Augusta?
No, I wouldn't probably show up anywhere and just assume anything. No, I would never do that. No.
Okay.
I've been invited as a guest.
Okay.
Which has been a great gift. I played there a couple of times with Arnold Palmer, by the way, just a name drop on you here. That was one of several of my greatest thrills. And I've had some really treasured invitations to play there. And I have through the years, most recently, March a year ago.
And what'd you shoot?
It was a big number.
It
was a really big number.
Was it 3 digits?
No, not that big.
Okay.
Not that big.
90?
Sadly, it's not that far away from it, but it was not good. Okay. It took me a long time before I even registered a par. Now, I used to, I say, I played there a lot of times, but I would get stuck on, you got to realize I'm in my 60s now. I mean, I first started coming to Augusta when I was 3.5 years out of college, and I was 26 years old. I could still hit it. I could hit it. I could take the club back to parallel and all these things I can't do any longer, and I could shoot in the mid to high 70s. Those days are gone for me there at Augusta or anywhere else for that matter.
I always marveled that you go from March Madness where your voice is used differently, and a football game, your voice is used differently, to then the Masters where your voice is used differently.
Okay.
And you don't have that much separation between March Madness and the Masters, but
Okay.
just gearing up and voice wise, and then not gearing down, but like, how do you reset to go, now this is my mindset's all different, my voice is completely different?
I don't think about it at all. I'm glad you asked this question because if you did, it doesn't sound authentic to me. If you were to take your show right now and step outside from that warm fireplace environment you have,
Mm-hmm.
and you happen to walk outside and you were ringside for a UFC bout, or you were right in the middle of Auburn and Alabama in football, and you continued your show with the next segment, would your voice be like this?
No.
It would be because there'd be all this ambient sound, there'd be all this energy and excitement, and you would naturally feel like you have to push your voice to cut through that. I never have given that a thought in my life. I just go with whatever the environment feels like, where I feel like I've got to take my voice. And Augusta's not a screaming place. Golf isn't a screaming sport. It's much more mellow. It's more like, truthfully, it's more like the setting that I'm looking at you in right now. It's a conversation piece. I find it a great challenge. I know probably most people think, how challenging is it? It's not like calling a basketball game up and down the floor. No, I actually think it puts a premium on your ability to tell a story and to also be able to see what your skill set is as far as being able to communicate and your word choices and your phraseology and your ability to be succinct or long form storytelling. I actually think it's the greatest demand that I've ever had in my career. And I think a lot of people who've done golf would say the same thing.
More concerned about the future of college basketball or the future of golf?
Not concerned about the future of golf. It's been around for 500 years.
But with Live,
What about it?
those players playing there, what, like, do we merge? Does golf need to merge?
Uh, I don't know the answer to that. Now, Liv, I think, is in its fourth year. There hasn't been a whole lot of change in the last year. If you've noticed, the turnover has slowed down. Meanwhile, the PGA Tour is developing a lot of great young players. Um, let's take a guy like Ludwig Oberg, who might win next week, for example. I think the PGA Tour is doing just fine. And that's not an indictment of Liv by any means. But my concern on your question is future of college basketball.
Yeah.
That that may not live as we know it another 500 years. It may not live another 15 years because the portal and the NIL, it's difficult. I don't want to paint it doom and gloom. I don't want to say it's about to be extinct. It's not going to be. But what we knew it as, what we grew up with, that model doesn't exist anymore. And some people have a real problem with that. I want to put a pitch in here from my school here. The University of Houston, as we go into this weekend, we represent college basketball the way we used to know it better than anybody maybe in America. Our guys stay. We had everybody come back except Jamal Shed, who was done eligibility and went to the NBA. He was a great leader. I grieve that he's not being able to experience this Final Four. But we have guys that have been there 4, 5 because of the extra COVID year, even 6 years for Jawan Roberts. And yeah, we have to play the NIL game, but our guys aren't racing to the portal. They believe in their coach. There's a family culture there. They're all in. And they love their school. They love their brotherhood and bonding with their teammates. And they love that Sampson family. And in a day where we have to every year be reintroduced to major programs and say, who are the newcomers this year we're going to get to watch for 1 year? Well, Houston, we've gone through a long stretch. And yeah, we've had to see guys graduate. But by and large, we are the model that won back in the 90s. Our guys stay and they care. And it's neat to see the word loyalty still exist and not racing to a portal. I mean, my last few years of doing basketball, I did the tournament for 37 years, either hosting or calling it. I would see 5-year players who were at 5 different major Division I programs, even conferences. You bring a guy in, you train him, you coach him, and next thing you know, the season ends and he's looking to see what opportunities are somewhere else. So I'm proud of this bunch. I'm proud of what Kelvin has developed. And this is our seventh time at the Final Four. That's a major number, second in 4 years under Coach Sampson, but we've never won the championship. We got to beat a good Duke team to get to Monday night, but maybe this is our year. We still get undervalued and underrated. I had someone say to me yesterday, yeah, you guys are good, but Duke's this, this, and this, and this. Okay. I hear that every game. I heard it going into the Tennessee game. I heard it going into the Purdue game. I heard it going into the Big 12 conference, which we've been in for 2 years, and we've absolutely run away with the conference 2-for-2. A very strong basketball conference.
No, I like this. I like
We'll
the
see.
Jim Nantz fan. I like this. The passion.
You haven't had this before.
No,
I gotta let it out somewhere.
And I'm going to help you when Ludwig Oberg wins, and you go Oberg, oh my, as a
God.
tribute to Dick Enberg.
I like that. You know how much I treasure the history of our industry and the names of yesteryear. And Dick worked the Masters with us probably the last 10 years of his career.
Yeah.
Oh my, Ludwig Oberg.
Yeah, there you go.
That's not bad. I'll put that one in the folder. What should I say when McIlroy completes the career Grand Slam instead? Come on the spot. You got to feel it. It's got to be organic.
It's glory for Rory. He completes.
Ooh, that's not bad. Glory for Rory.
Thank you.
Let's go.
Thank you.
I'm going to tell you right now, glory for Rory.
It'll make the
If
show.
he wins next week.
Yeah.
It may not be the final putt call. It will be said somewhere from the end of the competition.
Okay.
So when we sign off the air, the glory for Rory, I will be channeling you, Dan, at that moment. You have my word right now. If McIlroy wins, I'm going to say something about glory for Rory.
And you don't have to mention my name. You don't.
I was going to ask you what
No.
kind of attribution you. Now we don't run credits at Augusta, but maybe we could run a graphic that says "Glory for Rory."
Jim Nantz's
Written by
words.
Dan Patrick.
Yeah, Jim Nantz's words provided by Dan Patrick.
There you go.
By the way, I did have my bad moment with CBS when they tried to hire me years ago. Sean McManus.
Yeah.
Yeah. You never
Great
heard
guy.
this story?
No.
I was
We need to hear it.
mid-90s. I'm a big deal at Sports Center, and he wants to hire me at CBS. He said, pick any job. You can pick any job. And then I said, but I don't want to go to CBS Sport because that's all I think you just had basketball. You had just lost football or something. And
We had the NCAA tournament.
yeah,
yes.
but I was going to
We also had a little tradition unlike any other.
They wouldn't have let me. They wouldn't have let me.
PGA Tour package, so it's not sport. Okay.
Oh no, it's
and
terrible.
We
I
had the
did
PGA
it.
Championship.
I know, but I said that I was going to take Pat O'Brien's job, and Sean says pick a job, and then I was so smug, and I go, but I don't want to go to CBS Sport. It's terrible. I mean, we could have been cohorts.
I feel like we are anyway.
We are.
I mean, I was talking about my Houston Cougars and a brotherhood. I truly feel like we are. And there's some others that are kind of now, we're in the same age bracket here.
Yeah.
We all have been fortunate enough to be on national broadcast for about the same length of time.
Yep. Very lucky. And
Very lucky.
You welcome.
And I think, you know how much I love you and how awesome I know you are. So we have that. So I do feel like we're cohorts. Cohorts is what you call it? Colleagues?
Just
Absolutely.
remember, it's glory for Rory. He has
Glory
completed
for Rory.
the career Grand Slam.
You're wanting it right over the putt now.
Yeah. Oberg. Oh, my.
Aha. Hey, what happened to the old sound-alike contest we used to have about this time of year?
Well, when you lost your own sound-alike contest, I canceled it. We had somebody who sounded better as you than you, and I thought, you know what?
I did. I lost. I lost to a guy from, I think he was from Arizona.
Yeah.
That was fun. I think we need to bring it back.
All right. I'll talk to my people.
Talk to your people. I'll talk to my people. We'll see if we can work it out.
Thank you. Great to talk to you. Have fun.
Appreciate you. Love you, pal.
See you, buddy.
Appreciate being your colleague.
All right. Back after this.